everybody. Welcome to another episode of Best and Worst, where we are talking about the best and worst of some of our favorite talent. And this is what we do every week to give you a little taste of what we do over at the Hidden Gems podcast every Friday. Hopefully, if you enjoy this shorter episode, you'll take a listen to the longer podcast because it's a lot of fun. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Ryan is here.
Hey Rachel, so great to be back with you once again. And today we're going to be talking about Johnny Depp. And Johnny Depp is somebody who I like to say is a very good actor, but looking at his IMDb, man, it's hard to defend him sometime, or at least some of the choices that he has made.
Yeah, I think what happened with Johnny Depp is that he has these relationships with directors, and it just seems like he'll just do whatever those directors do. And unfortunately, he kind of hitched his hitched his boat to Gore Verbinski and Tim Burton, and it did not necessarily serve him well over the 2000s and 2010s.
Yeah, especially when Pirates of the Caribbean became the biggest movie of all time at one point. It was just around a time where he just became Jack Sparrow, but with a different coat of paint, or a different paint of coat in this
Mhm.
case. It was like, oh look, it's Captain Jack Sparrow as an Indian, or oh, it's Captain Jack Sparrow as Willy Wonka, or oh, it's Captain Jack Sparrow as the Mad Hatter. And it just, like, the more cartoony he got, the more it's like people forgot he used to be really good. Ed Wood, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and just I could go on for
No, but
days.
let's talk about the good times. The best of Johnny Depp was actually pretty difficult for me to decide. The I love Ed Wood, I love Edward Scissorhands, I love Finding Neverland. I think that's a really good movie. But when push comes to shove, I actually have to go with the original Pirates of the Caribbean. We forget that he was nominated, excuse me, for an Oscar for that role. It was so groundbreaking. It was so different. It was so unexpected. Even just his entrance as Jack Sparrow, the very first time when the boat comes in and he ends up sinking the boat and he turns in his thing and is was so great and memorable and fun, and all the action is so fun. And you always, and this is what the series forgot, is that Jack Sparrow is the smartest person in the room, and he knows what's going on, and that made him charming. You're rooting for him. Push comes to shove, it's either between that and Ed Wood. But I just, if I'm saying which one do I want to watch on a Saturday night, I'm picking the first Pirates movie. It's so fun.
Yeah, and I love this movie as well. It brought pirates back into the mainstream, at least for a little bit. And I actually, you all can't see it, but I have the original Pirates of the Caribbean DVD release with a little mini game in there where you could play the Liar's Dice, which in the special features, which was actually quite fun. And
Mm.
so, yeah, at least in the first original trilogy, Curse of the Black Pearl, uh, Dead Man's Chest, and At World's End, those three at least had felt like it was a beginning, a middle, and an end. The Davy Jones saga,
Hmm.
or at least Curse of the Black Pearl was Jack finding the ship, and then the last two was all about Davy Jones, and that was actually good. And I thought the third one was way too long, but at least it cut everything off and was like, okay, this is a definite end to this story.
So,
And then,
what is your best of Johnny Depp?
so my favorite Johnny Depp performance is from 2015, and it is Black Mass. Now, I'm going to be talking more about that movie in the actual episode. So I'll try and talk a little bit, like I'll try and touch on some points that I don't talk about in that episode. He essentially disappears into this role. He's not like I said, Captain Jack Sparrow, but instead he's playing a real life criminal. Like, no, he actually he becomes James Whitey Bulger. From all the news reports I've read about him, he was a very bad individual, and but he also just turns out to be very good at what he did, unfortunately for us. And Johnny Depp is absolutely just conniving, manipulative. he is 5 steps ahead of everyone else. He's playing chess while all of us are playing checkers, and it's not even fair.
Yeah, I have not seen this film, so that's very, very interesting. And I'll put a link down if people want to listen to the full podcast. You totally should. It's really good. So there we go. So the worst, and this was an embarrassment of riches, literally embarrassing for Mr. Depp. There were so many that we could pick, and I, went back and forth. I haven't seen all of his bad movies. I haven't seen Mordecai, for example. I haven't seen The Tourist, which I've heard is really bad. There's a lot. And I really, really dislike Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald, but it's not really his fault. He's perfectly fine. It's just the script was awful. I also didn't like Sherlock Gnomes, but I mean, I don't know what he could really do to save that. It's just a vocal performance. So I think if I had to pick a worst of Johnny Depp, I think I would pick Dark Shadows, his take on the soap opera of the vampire family, this cult classic soap opera from I think the 1970s. And you think that would be so popular, for such a great fit for Tim Burton of all people. But it's not funny. It's not inspired. Everything feels very tired. And I feel sort of tonally a bit all over the place. I didn't like his performance in it. I didn't like really any of the performances in it. Just not for me. He plays Barnabas Collins in it, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, I stayed far away from this movie because I heard nothing but bad things about it. And even from the trailers that I saw, I was sitting there like, oh, it's yet another fish out of water story where he's clearly going from the 1870s to the 1970s, and he's going to
Yeah.
look at something like a record player and be like, what is this magic? And then he's going to look at somebody like Alice Cooper and be like, that's a strange looking woman. And it was like
Yeah.
face palm levels of cringe.
What is your worst of Johnny Depp?
So my least favorite my least favorite Johnny Depp performance is The Lone Ranger from 2013. I would be a little more forgiving of this movie because it's Gore Verbinski and he has directed good movies before, see the Pirates films or The Ring from 2002. He knows what he's doing, but this movie is 2.5 human hours
It's
long,
so long.
based off of a serial that normally would last 5 minutes tops. It is
Yeah.
just, it felt like it lasted my entire life. Like it was so long. The color palette was gray and slightly dullish white. Like that was the entire color palette. And Johnny Depp, God bless him, he was just essentially playing Jack Sparrow, but instead he was playing an Indian. Like he even had the Jack Sparrow run. If you look at his run really close, it's essentially the same thing.
Mhm.
And except this time around, he throws some feet up to a dead freaking bird on his head, and often, and it just
Yeah, it is really boring. This movie is just not fun. It has a couple set pieces that are fun, but for the most part, it's just a slog. And it would have been high up there for me, but you were picking it, so
and, and,
I yeah, it's
and he has this voice of no Kimasabi, we must and like he's speaking very low toned and like no Kimasabi, huge explosion bang. And it's like Johnny, what are you doing, man?
yeah.
Come on.
So yes, it is not good, The Lone Ranger. It is very bad, in fact. So I agree with you there. So let us know what your best and worst of Johnny Depp is. And please, let's not talk about all of the mess going on right now with his personal life that doesn't have anything to do with these movies. So just let's talk about the best and worst and let us know what you think. So thanks so much. It's always so much fun. And how can people find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at RyanCam20. Then there's, of course, my YouTube channel, just Ryan Cam. I've been doing reviews for every episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian. Those are dropping Friday afternoons. And then I'm also still doing the AFI project. My reviews for Intolerance, The Philadelphia Story, and The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring will be dropping all throughout next week. I look forward to you all to hear what you guys think of those. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I humbly ask that you please do. I put a lot of time into it. I'm very proud of it. So give me a chance if you haven't.
Yeah, please do check it out. Make sure you listen to the full Hidden Gems podcast. I think you'll really enjoy it. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So check that out. And make sure you're following the Hallmarkies podcast right now. We have tons of really great interviews and really fun stuff over there. So please take a look at that. And thanks so much. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye, everyone.